Okay, let's get started. Welcome everybody to the day 4 of week 1 at Sharp Academy. I hope you guys are enjoying the journey so far. And yesterday we explored the world of blockchain. We discussed what blockchain is itself and how it works. But today we have something special in the store for you. We have the privilege of hosting a true blockchain expert and a blockchain owner who will be sharing with us his journey today. And you guys should get ready to be inspired. Please let's mute our mics, please. Okay. So you guys should be ready to be inspired as he takes us through his experience and insights. I'm very sure you are going to gain valuable knowledge from him. And there's a lot he's going to impart into us today. So I'm just going to briefly read the citation before it starts his talk. So his name is Lars Fabricius, CEO of Robuna Labs. Lars has been an IT developer and entrepreneur for over 15 years. Working with many well-known American and European companies, he has been involved with blockchain technology for a decade. Okay, can you guys hear me? I could see somebody saying the class is rugging.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. He has been involved with blockchain technology for a decade with 5 years experience in Solidity development. Blockchain is groundbreaking technology with almost endless applications, and Lars aspires to bring about lasting change through his project. So allow me to introduce to you Mr. Lars Fabricius, the CEO of Robuna Labs. Lars, we can have you now.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting me here today, Sharp.
You're welcome, sir.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Thanks a lot. You just want me to get started, or how do you want to play this one?
Yeah, just go ahead and share with us your experience so far in the blockchain sector, how you started, what led you to this journey, and how's the journey been so far?
Okay, so let's start. My name is Lars Fabricius. As was mentioned earlier, I've been involved with crypto for about a decade. My journey started with Bitcoin. Throughout Bitcoin, we started using that in the early days of Bitcoin, which means around a decade ago, we started to encounter this space and took interest in it. I'm an IT developer, so I've been working for different entities, banks, many different companies throughout my time. And then about a decade ago, we started playing a little bit around with blockchain to see what it was. When we started with Bitcoin, it wasn't to interact with the actual space. I have my Web3 company, and we started in 2017-18 is when we actually started going in and looking into developments. So in the early days, it was the money transfer, it was these things that we interacted with. I'm one of the people who have been buying pizza with actual Bitcoin and also other food. So this is how early we were into the space. I'm telling you guys this to understand that there's also things that you should be careful of when you enter a new space, because I've spent thousands of Bitcoin on pizzas, and obviously looking at the chart today, that's an expensive experience. But it is also very, very valuable to to actually try out these things. And obviously, every experience in life brings you forward. But this is not the most interesting part. So in 2017, me and my developers, I've had development company for a decade or a little bit over a decade. But as I tell you, we only been the last 5-6 years in the Web3 space. And we then started developing applications. We started to explore the space. It wasn't actually before the recent years, 2021, that we went in and started to really actively go into the development. So we had a few years where we were studying it from the sideline, and our core business was still based on Web 2. I am a data expert, and we secured financial institution, secured against hacks, things like that. So in 2020, we started up actively going in and supporting companies in the Web3 space. In 21, we decided to go live with a blockchain project. We are on testnet now. We are coming mainnet at the end of this year. So we are working both. We have two companies in the Web3 space. One of them is our public project, which is Roburna. Another one is an entity that's not as known yet, which is Roburna Labs. It's actually the most active entity that we have. We support clients in basically anything. So people who want to develop games, blockchains, big application platforms, all of these things are things that we operate with on a day-to-day basis. We take care of clients, we make sure they have a good experience and get their projects live, and we take care of their security. Obviously, we also handle the whole procedures, taking them from early development.
Sorry, Lars. Can you please try to leave and join the call again? It seems people are not hearing. I'm just checking through the chats now. So let's see what is it. Thank you very much.
Let me leave and join again.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for that, guys. He's going to recap on what he has said so far. And be rest assured, I'm not going to ask any questions regarding what he has said so far. Okay.
So, am I coming through loud and clearly?
Can you guys hear him now?
Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Of course. Yeah. I can also hear you very well here.
Perfect. One of the things that mutes me a little bit is all of the people who have their mic turned on. So please, everybody, mute yourself. Perfect. Yeah. So as I was saying, we have our development company, and one of the things that make us different than everybody else is that we bring people throughout the whole journey. So we take clients. A lot of our clients are not known in the Web3 space. They're not even tech related, but are interested in tech. So we bring them from A to B and all the way to Z, which means that we take care of their audience, we take care of everything. Please, people stay muted. If you guys speak, I cannot speak, okay? Perfect. So we take people through, companies through the whole journey and get them live with audience security check, and we also do ongoing security. So bigger projects that want bridges, bigger projects that want active things, we can actually deliver the full service to these businesses. This makes us a very strong company in the Web3 space, and this is where we are actually generating, at the current moment at least, the majority of our funds. We have our blockchain project. Our blockchain project is live. It is public. So you guys can all go into my open community. You can see there what we are actually doing. We have our blockchain now live on testnet, and our blockchain is a little bit special than other blockchains are because we have turned around the validation system, and we are trying to make an all-inclusive, exclusive blockchain where we are the blockchain for the people. The people, the early holders, the holders are the ones that gets the validator rewards. So this is changing around from other blockchains where it is big stakeholders, it is these people, these entities that are the validators. We have Ethereum with their requirements. You have Bitcoin, which put a lot of tech requirements to mining systems. And this is where Robona comes in and makes a big difference for the validators and makes it inclusive, and everybody has a possibility to get part of our validation system without any tech requirements, without any requirements besides you need to hold our token, which is soon to become a coin when we go on mainnet, and you simply need to hold this in your wallet. So this is where the system becomes very, very unique. Another thing that makes us unique is we are focusing a lot about the environment and green energy. So our nodes is going to be supplied by green energy, which is very good for the environment. This is one of the things that we have made to make us unique. Again, with our validation system turned around, then this is some of the things that makes us very unique. And this is something that makes us very, very interested to companies that want to go on blockchain, is that we have all of these core principles. Furthermore, our blockchain has a BaaS solution. BaaS means blockchain as a service, which means that we can multiply our blockchain with subchains, and these subchains would also be running under our node system and supporting the main chain. This could be interesting for companies that's interested in infrastructure. It could be for big companies. Now we could take an example and say Amazon, if they wanted to go on blockchain and they wanted their warehouse, the tracking of their warehouse and the tracking of the packages to go on blockchain, would they choose Ethereum with $1 gas fees? Most likely not. Would they choose Binance with $20 cents gas fees? Mostly not. Would they choose a custom chain where they can set their own gas fees and make sure that everything still continues as transparent as other blockchains? Most likely this would be something that could be interesting to them. So a high-speed blockchain is something that opens up the industry to a lot of the B2B businesses. Here, I'm not talking about features that customers or clients or consumers would be able to interact with. Most likely, these will not be so consumer-based. But for example, for a dropshipping warehouse, then stock and all of these things and transparency is very, very important for them. And right now, with a Web2 plugin, then everything can be modified. And for some, this is good, and for some, this is not so good. And this is where blockchain is definitely going to become some of the biggest web infrastructure that we see in the whole world. This could be for container ships. I just came with an example from a drop shipping warehouse. All of these is going to be very interesting. Why am I going through all of this? I'm going through all of this for you guys to open your eyes and see the big opportunities that is in this space. Because one thing is you can invest some money, you might win, you might lose. Investing always comes with its risk, no matter in what you invest in. But to go through the space with another mindset, I guess that a lot of you people that are here are maybe not so interested in the investing part, but would be interested in come more to work in this space. And for you to enter this space and work in this space, it's very, very important to change your glasses, to change your mindset, and go in and see the endless opportunities. Because the company that take mask container ships, the company that takes any huge company, Amazon or whatever, from Web 2 to Web 3, they're going to become millionaires overnight. And this is how real businesses are built. And a lot of real business and a lot of people who really rise fast, both in this space and also in Web 2 and also outside of the internet, the way that they actually rise from being worth a low net worth and to be worth millions or billions, it is because they change their glasses, they change their mindset, they see the opportunities, they sit, they think, they make a plan, and they execute it. And by doing that, anybody in 2023 can become a millionaire. And I think that the Web3 space has most opportunities because there is so few that has seen this opportunity yet. And that's why I believe that we are sitting with a golden egg here, all of us who is here today, because all of us who is here today, we have at least opened our eyes to the Web3 space. My parents are over 60 years old, and they think crypto is a scam. They are running big businesses, my whole family are, but they would never think right now to go into Web3. But my parents and my family business, they were also the last to actually make a website, to actually get computers in their business. Now we're talking 20, 30 years ago. They were the last to do these changes. And in the modern time that we live in now, it is about being fast in changes. It's about grabbing the opportunities that we see coming, because this is where we will be able to make huge amount of money, like endless amount of money is available in this space. Me, myself, as I started telling you guys, I have been buying pizza with Bitcoin, which is probably the most expensive food. I was sitting in a Michelin restaurant 2 weeks ago, and even though that it costed some money, it's not nearly what I ended up paying for these pizzas. It is huge amounts. These are things that we always need to be aware of. And then you have to be very, very aware in this space. As everybody sees, there's deployed hundreds of new assets, hundreds of tokens, hundreds of NFT collections every day. Are these good investments? Are this something that's interesting? Obviously, follow the trends, study it, be very careful with investing in it. Me, myself, I don't even touch these things. This is not where the big money is made. And maybe you hear success stories, somebody makes 100,000, somebody makes 1 million on a shitcoin, but that is basically the same as going to a casino and gamble. You can win and you can lose. And those who win, they have most likely lost a lot of times. And I can tell you from experience, from really being active in this space, a lot of the people who make that million or make that 100,000 on this investment of an unsecure asset, they are most likely going to lose it just as fast as they won. And this is a nature of how money comes, money goes. And what I would advise to everybody who sits and listens here today is change your glasses, view the space for what it is, study the technology, see the possibilities. People who are not speaking, please stay muted, just out of respect. We will go through questions and answers after my presentation. So by changing your glasses and looking the space for what it is, we are standing even 4, 5 years, 6 years into after Ethereum got launched, after the EVM change came, after we see the big possibilities. And as I said earlier, for anybody who helps an active company to go into Web3 and they make a gain on going into Web3, you're going to be heavily rewarded. And this is where this space becomes very interesting, because if you see these opportunities, and this is just like, we can take an example that everybody can resonate with. Airbnb was launched several years ago, and today there is a lot of people, at least in the States, not so active here in Europe, maybe not so active in Africa. I know a lot of the listeners here today comes from Africa, but let's take the example of property managers from Airbnb in United States. These are people who either make a deal with an owner of a property, or they actually do a full-time renting of the property, and then they re-rent it on Airbnb. And there's a lot of people who have very successful, very active, and very gaining properties, companies in the United States doing this service. And they found this opportunity when Airbnb accelerated. Obviously, in the States, all of these things accelerate more than it do elsewhere in the world, and people, they see these opportunities. And the people who are able to catch these early opportunities, these people make very good money. I personally know several millionaires who only work with property management, re-renting of properties on Airbnb.com. And this is amazing business. And the same comes now for crypto. Right now, we see very few protocols actually active. So if somebody was to explain what is crypto today, what can you do on Ethereum, what can you do on Binance Smart Chain, what can you do on Polygon, we have a lot of activity with NFTs. A lot of these are low quality JDP design. And it's something that's in trend right now. Obviously, there's people who have made a lot of money on it. Do I believe that this is a long-term trend? I believe that there'll be gambling all the time. But if it's something that you can generate generational wealth and make yourself not only a fortune now, because one thing is what we can make today, another thing is what we can make long-term. The same if we go into protocols, then you obviously have lending protocols. Those I believe more in having a long-term feature. So trading protocols, lending protocols definitely have a long future. But there is so many protocols, so many things still to come. We can take another example and say, for example, in the growing industry, if people they are growing corn, if people they are growing different things there, then you rotate the crops, which means that you don't grow the crops every year on the same square hectare. And this is something that could be implemented with blockchain. Obviously, I have my ideas to how it could be implemented, but this is where there will be opportunities for the people who find this implementation. And then later, there will be opportunities for the people who find the creators of these opportunities and get it out to the business clients, which means contacting farms to sell them this infrastructure for their lands, for their yield. It could also be transparency. Right now, another thing that is very active in the talk here in Europe and in the States is CO2 credits. CO2 credits have a large amount of scams in them, where people, they reuse or duplicate CO2 credits, and it's only a matter of time before the law will catch up with these people. This is already getting worked. Several companies are very active, and these are big entities, so they will definitely put CO2 credit into Web3 and ensure the transparency. But again here, for the people who can connect the companies and make it easy and very fluent for them to be able to actually incorporate this into their business, then there will be a lot of money in it. This industry I would like to highlight because this is an industry that people, they think, but who's gonna buy CO2 credits and these things? Here you need to study very well, because CO2 credits is not something that people buy because they want to buy it. This is something they buy because governments obligate them to use it. And if they don't use it, they get heavily fined. So, for example, every travel company that want to travel in or out of Europe or in or out of the United States, they have to buy and obtain these CO2 credits. It's the same for container ships bringing in goods to Europe or any other industry of transport. They are simply obligated to buy these CO2 credits. And if they don't, they are getting heavily fined. So this is not an option for them. They have the gun to the head and they need to spend the money. But they are getting in trouble as well if the seller is duplicating these CO2 credits, because then they are buying invalid credits. So there is different angles where you can go in and see an opportunity in this space. Now, we just took some examples just to have something to actually resonate with a little bit. But this could be brought into any sector. So we can also take a sector that many people might resonate even more with. Right now, it's getting very popular here in Europe and in the States to have, what is the correct word? So clothes with a healthy brand behind them, which means that they don't want to do bad against the nature, which means that the items comes, now I mentioned clothes, but let's just go in general consumer goods. They want their items to be recyclable. They want their items to be sustainable. So this comes from using the right raw materials and the right dispatch features. So, for example, we could go into something like plastic bags. Plastic bags are changing over and either becoming recycled bags, recycled material, or even paper bags now in supermarkets. Again, we are talking huge industries here, where if somebody can ensure a transparency, because right now there isn't any transparency in this besides the marks that are put on top of these products. And then it doesn't matter if it's plastic bags that I just mentioned. Another thing that's going to come now is housing and construction, where concrete and these items are not sustainable for our nature. They are not sustainable for our living. Obviously, they're very good because we can build houses very big, but it's not sustainable. So these are all things that comes in, and here we will see unlimited possibilities. I'm just thinking of something, but I'm only one man. I'm obviously sitting with my company. We are over 100 employees in my company, but still with me, I will not be able to think even 1% of the possibilities. And this is where we need new, fresh eyes coming into the industry all the time. And for example, I have my advisors outside of my company and my sparring partners that always comes and pitch ideas for us to catch the new trends. Because if anybody sees something that's very valuable and can turn this in and can actually create a final product, that's where we're going to see millions or billions getting created. So this is something that's very important. And all of this sustainability and all of these purposes is something that I believe will have a very long outside. This is also with that in mind that we created Robona, This is why you hear me speak about green energy. This is why you hear me speak about sustainability. This is also why our company have went in. Right now we are active in Portugal, buying up land, fields, and turning them into forests to show this sustainability goes all the way. Because again, when this tech comes live, and this tech is live, but when it gets wider adopted, then what we will see is that all of this transparency, because there's many companies that say and talk, but if they don't do and act, then now they're gonna be able to behold responsibility throughout the blockchain. Because if you do something with this tech, then it's transparent from all the way through. And this is one of the things that is with this tech. And this is also why we are doing the things that we are doing in our company. So here I've come with some ideas to you guys. I've come with some different cases that we have went through. And this is just some of the things that we are sitting with on the day-to-day basis. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe we should go over. Now we have been talking for half an hour. I have a little feeling that there's gonna be a load of questions towards all of this. So do anybody have any questions that we should go through, or how is the community feeling today? Can you let me know, what do you think about my presentation so far? Let me see if there comes any question up here in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for
Nice
the
to meet you.
presentation. This is Abiola Adekule. Thanks for the presentation. Yeah, my own question is, like, now that the price of most of these currencies, like Bitcoin now, keeps fluctuating, what's the profitability of an amateur investor like us that's just willing to start? Like, what would you advise us to start from, or which of these platforms do you think there is enough reliability to trade on? That's my question.
So as far as I understood, there was a little bit noise in the background, but as far as I understood, was investing advice and platforms, advice to platforms. So you're shaking your head, Sha? I misunderstood the question, or? Okay. So in terms of investing, I would always be very careful. Me, myself, I started investing when I was 11 years old. I still hold these investments today. Why do I do that? Because when I invested when I was 11, obviously I didn't study myself, but my family studied for me, and we invested into some investment companies, and these companies are doing very good. I invested into the stock market, to make it very clear that this obviously wasn't crypto when I was 11 years old. And me, myself, I have another angle to investments. So for me, obviously, I'm trying to catch some trends in investments and these things as well, that I would lie and say if I'm not. I've been lucky sometimes, I've been unlucky other times. It is very time consuming. You have to study a lot. So first of all, if you want to invest like this, it's about doing very, very, very good, heavily research. Doesn't matter which platform, what company, what asset you want to invest into, you have to invest and do a lot of research. Then you have to think, what are you looking for? Are you looking for 100x in a short term? Then for sure, Bitcoin is not going to give you that. It would be very, very hard for you to get 100x on Bitcoin. It would mean that it will have to go to 3 million. But could you get a 10x on Bitcoin? I believe Bitcoin could 10x. I believe that it could 10x in the coming years, for sure. But again, it's not 100x, it's not 1,000x. Do you want to invest into any of these assets? You have to research very, very good. And then you have to be very calm with your investments, because you can buy Bitcoin at 30,000 and it dump. If you sell, you have lost. So this is where I say I invest into things that I believe in long term. If I invest in with a short term mindset, then for me, I discard the money the minute I invest. So if I'm going for 100x, then I'm gambling. If I want to make 100x in a few days, a month, or a year, then I'm purely gambling, because I do not believe that there is any free money in the world. First of all, for you to gain, others will have to lose. This is the rule in investment. So me, myself, I want to invest into long-term investments or dividend-paying investments. This might be something that you have heard elsewhere, and this is what I have made Robona is a dividend-paying investment, which means that just by holding, you're getting a reward just by holding. And if you believe that the investment is going to go up over the long term, then you can feel quite safe with an investment like this. And basically, for anybody who invests with that mindset, then you can be very relaxed. As I say, I have invested in the stock market from I was 11 years old, and the majority of my investments I have never sold. These are dividend-paying investments that pays my rent every month. So for this reason, I don't really care. Now, so many years have passed, over a decade, long time over a decade. So the prices are very different from what they were when I was 11 years old and started investing. I still invest into these markets. The reason I do that is because it's dividend-paying investments. I am not planning to sell these investments. I'm planning to generate wealth that will give me money every year. And every year, they will support my life. So again, going into short-term investment is high risk. Discard the money the minute you invest into it, no matter the amount of research that you have done. Every project, including Robona, can rock tomorrow or go to zero. It is impossible to ensure. And even more, if you are in the stock market, and even more in the regulated stock, you can be more relaxed with your investments. But investing into cryptocurrency, where we have so low a total liquidity, because Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, any of these don't have a high liquidity. So it is very, very difficult, as long as we are not further in the development of this. Obviously, in 20 years, things will look very different. But at the current moment, be very, very careful with these investments. Study, and my advice to everybody is invest into something that you believe would be here in 20 years. It will be here when your kids grow old, even if you don't have kids yet. Then if you think that you can pass this investment on to your loved ones when you die, then it's for sure going to be a good investment. But if you think you're going to make 100x in a week, in a month, in a year, then I'm not so sure that it's going to be a good investment. You can get lucky, but it also means that other people will have to get unlucky. I hope this answers your question. Let's go to...
Yes, thank you.
So let's go to the next person. Is there more people who would like to ask questions?
Yeah, should I read out the questions for you? There are some questions in the chat. So
Yeah,
somebody, Someone said, please, what is the CO2 credit and how was it scam? And how can we identify a scam identity?
So in regards to the CO2 credits, this is something it's a huge subject, as big as blockchain is. CO2 credit is a big subject in its own. Basically, to explain what it is, companies produce CO2 when they do transportation. For example, CO2 gets released out to the space, to our air, to our environment. And these companies has to buy CO2 credits in the form of tons. CO2 credits always comes in tons, and they will have to buy them to eliminate this emission. How can they buy these? They can buy it from agriculture, they can buy it from forest owners, they can buy it from different entities. The way that it's a scam is that some people duplicate their CO2 credits and sell them. So that means they have 1 ton of CO2 that's abstracted from the air, but they're selling it multiple times. So if you're selling 5 ton CO2 credits from 1 ton reduced, then you're doing scam on 4 tons. These people are gonna get caught up later on. I even know that in Nigeria and in various areas of Africa, this is becoming very big, of agricultures and forest owners in Nigeria obtaining CO2 credits and selling them on the European market. You can go in and Google a lot more about this. To identify a scam identity in CO2 credit space, this is only for B2B businesses, so this is not something you need to worry about. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So the next question says, speaking about recycling of plastic bottles and other casual projects, how does that correlate with Web3?
So this correlates with Web3 in shape of sustainability. So right now, today, the consumer trends are moving, which means there is a large amount of people that understand that we cannot, if we want to do something good for our kids and our loved ones, we cannot do things and actions that's unsustainable. So for this reason, there is companies that get forced to be sustainable because this sustainability clients pay for. So for example, let's say consumers in north of Europe, they want to support their families, they have kids, they are thinking with a long-term vision, then they will look into the sustainability. And this means that they will only buy recyclable products and all of these things. And this is why we see big companies do the change. All of you have to understand one thing. Big companies do what's most profitable for them unless they are forced to change. But when consumers force a change, then these companies will do the change, because if not, they lose the consumer. To take something that maybe all of you have seen, then you can see a company that produces beer as Bud Light, for example. They go in and support a subject. They have even used it in public advertisement. I won't go into the subject. You either know, you don't know, or you can study this after. But they lost a huge consumer base. Like 20 to 40% of their consumers boycotted their beer, their product, because of an advertisement strategy. And because of the consumers doing this, they were forced to change. The change probably came too late. That's how it looks like for Bud Light. But this is how big companies goes in and change their mindset and their products and everything. And for recycling of plastic bottles, then there is a lot of people. Besides, there is a lot of organizations targeting businesses who don't use sustainable materials or recyclable materials. And this is why, at least in Europe, we see 99% of plastic bottles getting sold now recyclable. Then this is something that they have been forced upon them. And again, these consumer trends are changing all the time. And I can see that it's coming into the clothes industry, for example. So in the clothes industry, this is something that's going to come. And I believe, but I'm not sure, but I believe that unsustainable materials, like polyester, for example, that is something that we either have to find a way to recycle polyester, which we don't have a lot of options right now, or they will have to cut it away from the market and use other materials. Very, very simple. How do all of this correlate with Web3? It correlates through the transparency, because let's say that you are producing beer and you want to show everybody that it's recycled, then the only transparent tech you can use right now would be to make recycle points and then get it scanned when it goes into recycled boxes, and then have a dashboard that can track this on blockchain. So this could be a way that it could correlate with Web3. I'm just coming with one example. It could also be when items then are collected and then it goes to recycling factories and gets reproduced. It could be there you do a tracking. But basically any tracking could be transparent with Web3, where any tracking on Web2 can be manipulated and could be fraudulent. Obviously, could be doesn't mean that it is, but in the future that we go against or towards, then I believe that a real transparency to the consumer is something that's important, because we are losing trust in everybody, in our governments. And this is something that a lot of you can probably relate on, that we're losing trust in our governments. We're losing trust in the factories where we produce, where we buy our items from. So if we are less trusting them, then we will have to implement something in the near future that doesn't put things up to question and makes everything very transparent. And this could come all the way down to votes. Voting for governments could also be done via Web3. And this way, there couldn't be any duplicates of votes, and there couldn't be any votes that gets disappeared after a voter have put in their vote. So depending on what continent you live on, these are things that actually happens in everyday life every time there is votations. And this could be for politics, for governments, for anything. And this is how it could correlate with Web3. I hope you got an answer on your question.
Another question. Since your company is focusing in Europe, so what's your aim to divert Africa company to Web3 through your company? Because most of African companies believe Web3 is just gambling.
And most people in general, because this is again a consumer mindset. As I told you guys, my own parents believe that crypto and Web3 is a scam. So this is where this belief is something that will always take time. But the moment that it takes a swift, that is the moment where we will see the real mass adoption and billions entering this space. Not for investments maybe, but for using the technology. What are we doing to go towards the African market? Right now, I can tell you that with our environmental projects, we are going into cooperation with African business owners. And this is one of the ways that we do to create trust to the African market. Obviously, the African market isn't our biggest target right now, both because, as you say yourself, a lot of African companies are still not ready. But we are getting more and more presented in numbers of workers in Africa, and we will start to do public activities in Africa in the near future. This will create us trust towards the African continent in general, and then we are trying to cooperate and being transparent with all our clients and partners, and this is something that will be look good at for every company, not only from the African continent, but also from the European, the American, South American, and Asian continents. So we are trying to do these to enhance trust into our company from every aspect and every company worldwide. I hope that answered your question.
Okay. Another question. What are the challenges you faced so far in your industry, and how have you been able to cope with them?
We have faced a large amount of issues. Obviously, in the earlier days, it was different than it is now. Now the adoption is starting to see a good flow. But one of the things that I believe is a general issue for the Web3 space is what I explained earlier, is the lack of real utility use cases, something with long-term vision. And this is something I believe in general across the space is something that is very, very important and something that puts a barrier up. But I believe that we will see the difference in the nearer future. In the nearer future, I believe that more and more companies will adopt. We can already see huge companies, investment companies like BlackRock, the biggest asset manager worldwide. All of these companies are slowly opening the doors up, maybe only to Bitcoin for now, but it's opening the door into the space in general. And as we see this, we are going to see a resolution on these issues, and we're going to see a mass adoption of blockchain coming with real world utilities. And when we see that, that is where everything will be going so much faster. I hope that
Okay. This is a very good question. Sayong asks that, what advice would you give to a Web2 back-end developer who is interested in moving to Web3? You mentioned that you've been a Solidity developer with 5 years of experience. Is Solidity the best language to consider when it comes to Web3?
So Web3 development actually includes a lot of things. So to be a Web3 developer, you don't need to learn Solidity. You don't need to learn about smart contracts. You don't need to learn to deploy assets, because all of these big platforms that need to get developed, they also all need a backend. And here you will be using your regular skills. So if you are a Web2 backend developer, you have some codes you're very familiar with, and these codes we will also need in our Web3 applications. Obviously, a general knowledge is something that is very, very positive seen on. And if you decide to learn any of the development languages, doesn't matter if you go in for Rust or if you go for Solidity or any of the other code systems that are, then you will be able to hire your own value. But obviously, right now, as it looks right now, then Solidity and EVM chains are the biggest in the space. And I believe that you would hire your value to the industry by learning at least the basics. You don't need to learn to become a specialist in Solidity to be a good backend developer and enter a development team for example, like my own, but it would definitely be a big benefit if you start to learn the basics. So definitely, and EVM chain and Solidity are currently the biggest. Will that stay throughout the future? I'm not sure. But even Bitcoin is adapting a EVM subchain, everything. So I believe that it is for now a safe goal to go in and study Solidity. And if you already know JavaScript, for example, Solidity isn't actually that complicated. So I would do like this. This is how I learn my skills myself. Is I go to somebody who's better than me. I offer up to work with them for free to obtain knowledge. So this is how I prefer to do things. Other people prefer to watch a lot of online studies. Other people like to go on a course. Me, myself, I like hand-on action. I contact the idol of mine in my industry. I reach out to them and ask, is there a possibility I can get to work with them for free and obtain their knowledge? And by doing that, you can springboard on knowledge very, very fast. But this is my own personal way of doing things. It doesn't mean that this is the way for everybody.
Okay. Let me check if we have any more questions pertaining to what we are discussing. People are asking about investment, and I think you really answered that.
Yeah, I think in regards to investments, I think we have went over it. I'm not a financial advisor. I wouldn't advise anybody to do investment in general, no matter if it's the stock market or the crypto market. But think about your kids and think about your family when you do investments. Study your investment very well. And if you're comfortable with the investment, then you should go forward if you have the money and can afford to lose them. Obviously, any investment comes with high risk, and you can risk to lose all your money. So do not invest money you can't afford to lose.
Okay. I think there are no more questions left.
Is there anything that you think we should have went over that I haven't? I didn't prepare anything special for today. Is there anything that you would like us to discuss with your classes? I haven't followed your earlier program, so maybe there is something from the past 3 days, or maybe there is something that you would like to discuss for the coming days.
Okay. Though you didn't go through what we've discussed in the past, but you've talked literally about everything we've discussed so far. The questions people asked made you to cover most of the aspects I wanted you to cover. A question came from a Web2 developer on how to get his journey started in Web3. I think yesterday a lot of people had asked a question about that, and good stuff. You already answered the question. And you also spoke to us about your journey and how you started, which is the theme of this video chat. Your journey in Web3, how you started, your challenges and how you overcome them. So I think you've touched all aspects. Right now, we're just waiting for more questions from the students.
So one thing I would like to go a little bit into, because now we highlighted the thing with developers and how they can go in from Web2 to Web3 and become Web3 developers. One thing I would like to go over is people, they tend to put a lot of focus towards the developers, a lot of focus towards the project owners, a lot of focus towards these areas of the industry. You have to remember, when the industry gets widely adopted, these people will be the minority. It will be the minority that we need to have developers. Obviously, we need hundreds of thousands, we need millions of developers, but it will still be a minority. Project owners and companies will still be the majority in this space. Somebody unmuted themselves. You have a question?
I'm trying to spot the person.
It is java.com. Perfect. So in this space and also in the regular life where the majority of workflow works is between people who are connecting one party to another party. So, for example, just to go over the African continent and adoption into Web3, how do I believe this is going to happen? I believe this is going to happen. You have a question, sir? I believe this is going to happen on the basis of young African good people that are going to be the ones that connects the businesses in Africa together with the right development companies. This company doesn't need to be my company, but this is a role that's very, very important because this is how Web2 advanced. This is how any industry have advanced so far in history, in all time of history, is people who goes in and do the networking, the connection, helps come up with the ideas and produce this. This can be in form of ambassadorship. It can be in form of direct salesman. It can be in the direction of many different directions. But this is definitely something that's going to make the industry very, very big. And it's going to be needed for when we reach mass adoption. And then it would be anybody, no matter education or social level, that will be able to enter this. And you are only, and this is something that's very important, and not only for the Web3 space, this is for any industry. You're only one meeting, only one contact, only one contract away from becoming a millionaire. Because the people who act in sales and get a commission on, for example, my company working, there is people now, and this is how I keep my company active, is people who work on sales, on commission, and get in and do an order in my company. And there's people who close 5, 6, 7 figure contracts all the time. And these people get between 1 to 10% for doing basically, not doing nothing, but you don't have any upfront investment. You invest your own time. Obviously, sometimes you invest a lot of times, especially until you get that network. But as soon as you have the network, then this is something that can make you go very, very far. And this is something, no matter social level, educational level, or your financial situation today, this is something everybody can get started with. And this is something I would recommend the majority. I would not recommend the majority to study into technology, because if you don't want to create websites, then I don't believe that you will be interested in developing for the Web3 space. Now, I just put it up an example. Obviously, this is a little bit taking it heart on heart. But in general, if you're not interested in developing in Web2 space, then the Web3 space is even more boring when it comes to development. So if it doesn't excite you, Web3 is going to excite you even less. But networking and sales is something that everybody can do. If you're just a respectful person in general of nature, then this is something that will be for the majority. And you will see, if we go a decade out in the future, what I tell you guys today, there's going to be millions and millions and millions, and 50 to 100 times more workers in this part of the industry than there's going to be in the development part. And this is fact. This is something that I'm willing to put all my money on. So you can either take my word and try look with other glasses, or you can miss the train and come too late. But this is definitely where I believe that the majority will be able to become really, really, really wealthy, if not stinking rich. And millions is easy to make. If you can make networking, millions is easy to make. How can you get started on this journey? Start getting yourself familiar with people who have the possibility to give this to you. So this would be agency owners, because singular developers will never be able to give you the opportunity. They will be able to give you started, but they will not be able to bring you all the way to the end. Because the difference between a development agency like mine with totally connected 6,500 developers, not working on a month-to-month basis, but we can call in 6,500 developers and I can hire more before I use up these developers. So I have other possibilities that a singular or a small team of developers have. Like my company, there's many. Obviously, there's not thousands yet, but there is at least hundreds of development companies like mine. Go out, get familiar, get friendly with these people. Ask if there is any possibility that you can get a commission by referring them clients. I'm sure that no matter what company you will go for, they will be able to accept some kind of deal with you, and you will be able to start make money. And this is somewhere where I would say this is very, very interesting. And if you then make some money in this space, then you can always play around with some of these money for investments. But again, as I say, the main focus should never be on investments. Should be very, very careful with investments, especially in the crypto space. Remember, we are only a little bit above 1 trillion total market cap, but there is not 1 trillion inside of crypto. There is maybe 10% in liquidity or less. That is actual liquidity. That's money that can be withdrawn. So the fact is, if everybody wanted to withdraw their money today, they couldn't. And this is something that will take a long time for the industry to evolve, for this liquidity to come. But even on the stock market, there isn't a one-to-one liquidity. In no investment, there is a one-to-one liquidity. So it is something that you have to keep in mind when investing always. Now we've had quite a presentation today. Is there come any new questions since we went over it last time, or are we going towards the end?
Okay, there are two more questions here. One says, a beginner, what are the job opportunities and the personal development areas one needs to touch to be well versed as a beginner? I think this person is
okay. in on regard to Web3 as a beginner, what job opportunity and the personal development areas one need to touch will be well versed. So as I just mentioned, being a salesman and networker is something that would be very, very opportunable. If you want to go into development, you can do that. Obviously, then I would go for the bigger industries. I would take the bigger codes, which means that you should go and learn Solidity. But if you are not a developer already and you don't find development very interesting, this is most likely not the way. And then I would focus on being a salesman, a networker, bringing people together, being the bridge between people, because this is where more wealth is created, and a person who's good at sales makes a lot more money than a person who's good at development. And this is just a fact. There is developers obviously bringing home millions a year, but they are very few. and they are always going to be very few. The majority of developers, they are not gaining a lot of money in comparison to Web2 developers. There is even Web2 developers making more money than Web3 developers. So if you go into the development part, do it for passion. If you go in to make money, learn to network. Is there any more questions?
I think that's all regarding what the theme of the presentation is. Yeah.
I can see one person ask if a developer from Nigeria can work for a company in Europe. No matter which kind of work you would like, then obviously workers in Nigeria can work with European entities. Obviously, this is something that anybody can do across continents. Depending the company's policies, then there will be contracts that will have to be signed, and there is something with the payment of the salary. But besides this, then obviously we can work together. There is also a lot of companies expanding now to the African and Nigerian markets and are opening entities there. We ourselves have been considering in the near future to open an entity in, for example, Nigeria or in another African country to get in and get more exposure towards this. Any other questions before we end for tonight?
Okay, let's take this question last. How can a newbie find and connect with top guys in the Web3 space?
So you shouldn't try to connect with the top guys always from the beginning. Start reasonable. I'm not a top guy in this space at all, but you have to take your steps up the ladder all the time. And it's very, very important that you know what you can offer people. And the higher up you want to reach, so let's say that you were going to try to get Warren Buffett to invest in you today, then you'll have to do your pre-work a lot different than if you want a regular investor or a regular investment company to invest into you. Why? Because he is the richest investor on earth. So obviously he is doing his things different. So going for the top guys is maybe not even what I would suggest. I would suggest to go for a nice, reputable company that has a good reputation that you can build with. And as you build with them, both your own reputation and their reputation, you can spring the ladder. But don't try to jump steps. So, you can try to jump 1 or 2 steps, but if you try to jump the full ladder, there is a very big chance that you fall, and you will fall hard. So take steps 1 at a time. You can jump 1 or 2 ladders or steps on the ladder, but don't try to go from 0 to 100 in one go. Take it step by step. Get up, get connected with somebody that you see or hear is very friendly in the space, that you believe in, that there's mutual trust, and then build together. And then as you become better and more experienced, you will also, through this network, get to know bigger guys. And this is how I myself have built my network, was starting very, very small and building it up. And this is also why the transmission of my company into Web3 took 3 years. We are talking 3 years. And we're talking 9 years from I encountered Bitcoin until I opened my Web3 development division. So obviously, trying to jump a full ladder and jump from 0 to 100 is not something that I would even recommend. I hope that do answer the question.
Okay. There's one more question here, Lars.
Yeah.
Talking about moving up the steps, what career path is the best for a newbie to start with in Web3?
So again, as I said, in terms of career, then I believe that it's the sale and networking industry that's gonna be most money in. And it could also be project manager. So for example, in a company like mine, we have salesmen, which are mostly not. We have a few good salesmen that are inside of our company. If not, these people are freelancers or self-employed and get a commission. Then we have our own team. We have direct sellers and we have internal sellers, which means that when we have a client, they get in contact with the sales team. The sales team close the order and pass it on to the designers, the developers, and they complete the order. This is because this is the items that we are producing. But here in between, there is also project managers. To be a project manager takes a lot of skill. It is communication between all the teams and the client. So this is one that organizes everything and makes sure that everything is delivered correctly according to the spectrum that's agreed with the client. So sales, project manager, basically all of these industries which also work in the normal, because this is also huge industries in any industry, not only crypto. And this is something that I believe is where most people will succeed in terms of finding job and finding their space inside of the crypto industry, inside of Web3. This is where I believe there is a career for most people. But obviously this takes a huge self-respect, huge respect for other people, good communication skills, and being honest throughout your journey. Because this is how you build friendships, build connections, build up a strong network. And remember, a friend in this space might bring you a client tomorrow. If this client want to buy a protocol for 20 to 100,000, that is something that's gonna give you a commission for whoever you pass on the order to. So this is where I believe there is a lot of money to be made and a lot of careers to be built. I hope it answers your question.
Yes, it does. So it's almost time for your second hammer. So I think
Yeah.
So I'm just going to thank you for your presentation. Your insight and experiences in the blockchain industry were inspiring. And we would like to appreciate you as a partner and also as a sponsor. Your contribution has helped us a lot in this academy. And yes, thank you for imparting your knowledge into the lives of Sharp Academy students. Thank you very much, Lars.
Thanks a lot for everybody who have joined today. And we will probably, hopefully, meet again, all of you. It has been amazing to be here and talk with everybody tonight. It has been some very, very good questions. I have liked and enjoyed the questions tonight, which is important because a lot of times we get not so thought through questions, but I can see that the community here is highly engaged because of the questions that has been here tonight. So yeah, I would definitely like to come back, speak with you guys another time. But for tonight, I have to run. I have another AMA, so I will have to cut off for today. See all of you guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. That was interesting. That was very, very, very interesting. And you know what time it is now. You guys saw the announcement we made yesterday about today's class. So I already have my questions here with me. I have about 5 questions here, and I don't even know the one to ask yet. So I'm just going to go with. I'm going to go over the details of what we're about to do now. Yesterday, we made an announcement that after today's webinar with Mr. Lars Fabricius, there's going to be a giveaway, and the prize pool is $100. The first position, which is going to be the person that will answer the question I'm going to ask first, is going to get $50 worth of Robuna. So that's $50. The second person to get the question, another question, is going to get $25 worth of Robuna. And 4 random people will be getting $5 BUSD. Now, I'm going to ask my question, and the first person to drop the answer is going to get, I'm going to start with the $25. Yeah, I'm going to start with $25. So anybody that gets this question, I'm about to drop. I'm not going to text it. I'm just going to say it here. The first person that gets the answer is getting $25 worth of Robuna. And I'm quite sure you guys know what Robuna is. Robuna is Mr. Lars Fabricius blockchain project. The cryptocurrency blockchain has, which is Robuna, is called RBA. So it's the one sponsoring today's giveaway. Now, my first question is, are you guys ready? My first question is, the second question for $25 is, what is the similarity between Airbnb years ago and crypto today, according to Mr. Lars? The similarity between Airbnb years ago with crypto today, according to Mr. Lars. That's the question for $25 worth of Robuna. I'll be waiting for your responses. Somebody said centralized. No. No. The answers I've seen so far, nobody has got. Somebody almost got it, but the answer is not well phrased. So I'm going to say it again. What is the similarities between Airbnb years ago with crypto today, according to Mr. Lars? So I think I've seen 3 answers actually, but they are not well phrased. If you are going to answer this question, you have to write it as a sentence. I don't want just the word. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. And my PA has ghosted again today. Please mute your mic. I can't spot the person. Okay. All right, let me check the comments, the chat section for it's wrote. Okay. Long time investment. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Let me just check again from the top so I can see. Amoni Odu would have gotten it, but the word wasn't. She said slow growth. Slow growth what? The answer is not well detailed. Another person that could have gotten it, Michael Uwabueze, he said longer term. So Admirable said long time investment. Okay, I'm going to, if you know me very well, when I'm about to choose my winner, there are a lot of things I look before choosing the winner. So long-time investment is wrong. It is long-term investment, which makes Stephen Marvelous. Stephen Marvelous is going to be the winner of the $25 Robuna. I'm just going to tag my PA is not around now, but is going to attend to this. And you should expect your reward tomorrow morning. Stephen Marvelous. So next time, if you want to answer my question, make sure you check your spellings. What was that? Admirable. Please make sure you check your spellings. The next question for $50. The next question for $50 is, what powers Robuna nodes? I'm going to type this. What power Robuna nodes? Mr. Lars said it. Okay. The first person to answer got it right. Yes, that's Mr. AK. He said environment and green energy, which is right. I could see a lot of people knows this question, knows the answer to this, but it was actually the Mr. AK that got the question right. The other answer so far, they also got it right. So it's a matter of speed. So AK was the fastest and he answered the question correctly. Ah, oh my God. Okay. Please mute your mic. I'm going to tag my PA. Where is he? Ghosts. Please mute your mic. Now, 5 random people are going to be getting 5 BUSD each. 5 random people present in this class are going to be getting 5 BUSD each. But before I proceed, I would like you to fill the attendance if you haven't yet. So I've already dropped the form while Mr. Lars was presenting, but I'm going to drop it again. Yeah, I've dropped it again. Stanley Lover, you missed both gifts. Don't worry. It might be chance to win the next one. Who knows? Please, if you haven't filled it yet, I'm going to close the attendance form very soon. We only have about 68 responses here. So please fill it. While we are filling this thing, I'm going to choose a winner. And I need somebody to drop me a random number from 1 to 87. Any number. A random number, please. So the first number I saw here was 1. So I'm going to record this so I can show you as a proof. Sayong said 1. So the first person that I see on my list here as participants of the video chat is going to get 5 BUSD. So I'm checking now and I'm going to record the process. And the first person is TOT Trade. TOT Trade is going to get 5 BUSD. I've recorded it, so I'm going to share it after this class to prove that TOT of Trade is the first person here. Okay. Yeah, ghosts. USD. All right. I need somebody else to drop another number again. Random number. Okay. Blessing Akitude. She said 56. Number 56. That's a very long number. So I have to count till I reach number 56. So I'm starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. Idowu Ayomide. Idowu Ayomide is number 56 here. So I'm going to tag Idowu Ayomide. Can you please send a message in the chat so I can tag you? Okay. Idowu Ayomide at post 5 BUSD. All right. I need another number. Okay. The first number after my message is number 5. Number 5. So I'm going to start counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says Saint Sam. Saint Sam is number 5 here. At Saint Sam. I think we've distributed that much. How many MB? Then BUSD. That's 15. Meaning we have 2 left. We have 2 left. Okay. Do you want me to ask a question for the last 5 BUSD, or should I ask for a number again? As I can see some. Okay. You want question? Question. I think questions has dominated the chat, so I'm going to stick with question. I like doing stops according to my community democracy. So yeah, I have another question here. So I have to, that means I'm going to ask 2 more questions. Okay, get ready for the question. According to Mr. Lars, what is the best way to make money in Web3? Okay, I've seen an answer already, and the answer is Uji network. So Uji is getting 5 BUSD. Mr. Lars said networking is the best way to get money in Web3. He said it while he was comparing networking and people who are interested in going for development, for developing Web3. So he advised people to go for, to connect with people and network. So I'm going to tag my ghosting PA. Uji. All right, the last question. Okay, the last question. I actually don't have any question more. This question I have, it might be a little bit difficult, but let's give it a try. The last question is, how did Lars say E or his company are generating money in the Web3? How did Lars say E and his company are generating money in the Web3? Please, I need a detailed answer. I need a detailed answer. I haven't seen an answer yet. I'm still checking. No answer yet. Somebody said investing in plastics. He said this during the I think he said it during the first 20 minutes or first 10 minutes when the class commenced. He said it's the way they are earning money currently in Web 3. So Yele Junior, the question is, how did Mr. Lars said he or his company are earning money from the Web 3? I'm still going to go through the answers again just to make sure I haven't skipped the right answer. Somebody almost got the question, but it wasn't detailed enough. I'm not going to give you the reward for that answer. Someone almost got the question right. Nice. Yeah, the person that dropped the first answer that I wasn't pleased with has restructured the answer and now he has gotten it, which is Victor Osinachi. Thank you for restructuring your answer. Thank you very much. I love this answer. So I'm going to tag my ghosting EA 5 BSD. The answer is development of Web3 products for clients and end user. Mr. Lars said he has a development company called Robona Labs, and that is how they earn money. He said it, I think, twice. So, and yep, that's it for today. And thank you all for joining this class. I think this has been my best class so far, my best webinar so far. It was really fun. And I love the fact that you guys engaged our guest speaker with nice questions. So just one more thing. If you haven't registered at the website yet and you are here, you are getting it wrong because you are not going to receive the records of the previous classes. And there's a special benefit that comes with being registered that I'm not going to disclose yet. That's going to be disclosed at the end of the educational program. So if you haven't, please register on the website. And also, our referral program is still ongoing, where you can have a chance to win $200, $100, some $50, and I think the prize pool plus some NFT is going to be worth $1,000. So if you have friends and they are yet to join us in the Web3 world or the Web3 sector, you can invite them. Like I said, in this kind of space, you need a lot of help. You can just have a group. You guys help yourself with updates. Nobody knows it, or no one is an island of knowledge. So it's better you invite people you know you can work with now and start your journey in the Web3 sector. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm going to close the attendance form now. We have 99 responses so far. I think this is our highest record. So we are progressing, and the attendance form is now closed. Thank you all for joining. All rewards will be distributed tomorrow morning. Please, all rewards will be distributed tomorrow morning. I could see somebody. Please, do we need to learn any extra skills or this program has everything we need to make money? Perhaps like coding. We are not going into tech here. We are not going into coding. But sure, we are going to be discussing about different careers you can do in the Web3 space at the end of the class. If you take a look at the schedule, which is pinned in this group, you are going to see all the details you need to know. You are going to see everything that is going to happen in this class in the coming weeks. So, and that's it about that. I think that's all. Daniel Koyemi, you have not filled the form. The form was open for over 30 minutes. So, and tomorrow we'll be talking about part 2 of blockchain, where we'll discuss about different blockchain technologies we have, the examples of blockchain we have. And see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice time. And if you like, you can watch the recordings again, because most of people here complain about the network. So it's better you check the recordings tomorrow morning. It's going to be uploaded and you are going to receive it in your mail. So have a nice time and goodbye. Bye.